Before we get started on today's episode, I just want to say for everyone who's going through situations based on the recent events, all I can say to you from an unbiased standing point, please be safe, please be mindful, and please love one another. There's a reason why I call this the Mike World Order, because we do everything in world order format. Also, condolences out to the family of Hana Kimura, Shad Gaspard. That hit hard in the world of pro wrestling, and it's very, very hard to handle that because just like any other sports, it's very, very hard to deal with the death of a athlete that you like, because you as a fan, no matter what sport it is, you have a connection with them. Also, my condolences out to the family of George Floyd and the incident that happened. Justice will be served, hopefully, and we can have the peace of mind to where we can move on from all this afterwards. And that's all I'm saying about that, and I'm not going any further than that, because everyone and their mama has given their 2 cents about it on social media, and I'm not. Because you know why? Because I'm not doing this episode just to do that. I am doing this episode so we can sit back, relax, have some laughs, and have some fucking fun. Because this is the Mike Cook Guys quarantine sessions. That's still going on. And for the record, as mentioned before, this isn't season 7. This is just something to do until season 7 is official. Because as mentioned, episode 1 is with the rap group, hip hop group, known in the Northern Virginia area and elsewhere, SNRG, LA Stone and I Speak. You know, we're still promoting that. That's going to happen. We're also going to have another musician on there, Lena Story. When that happens, it'll be a good episode. So, hope everybody's been doing all right. I know everyone is having major anxiety and major thoughts during this pandemic, me being one of them, to where I had to go on a small escapade for a couple of days, and, funny adventure as that was going on. But I will say this, there was some funny moments about it, I will admit that. So one of them was I ended up going to a massage parlor because my back was killing me because of all of the driving and the hours on the road, and body is stiffening up, and I realized that I'm not 18 years old and that I'm more closer to 40 than I am 18. And that's a hard reality to adjust to, but I digress. So I went to one, soon as I opened the door, they're like, you can't come in because you got to have a mask. So as soon as I put the mask on, next thing you know, there's this skinny Asian lady where her head weighed more than her whole body. And she had this look like she had Down syndrome. And she's like, it's only me, just me. And I'm like, ew, I came for an actual massage. I don't want no happy ending. And even if I did, it wouldn't be with your ugly ass. No offense, I am not bashing or body shaming a woman, but even if any of y'all saw her, y'all would look at her like, ew. Like seriously, it was like, ew. But today's episode is pretty much talking about funny hijinks that have happened in my life growing up, back home, or just in general. But before I do that, I also want to make a shout out to my buddy Heather. If you're in the Northern Virginia area or near DC and you love pudding, check her out on Instagram at Pandemic Pudding. And I think it's pandemic_pudding. Either way, search for it. She does deliveries. You have to order a certain amount, but she has various ones. She's got like lemon cake, cheesecake, and Oreo cheesecake, and she's been like getting creative because I've been watching the videos, and even though none of this stuff I eat because of keto and the fact that I'm picky as hell, It looks so good to where it's like, you know what? Let me try a corner of that. And they'd be like, you're doing this and this, and plus you're picky. Remember, I was like, yeah, but it looked good though. And they'll look at me like, just because it looked good doesn't mean it ain't good. And they'll grab a spoon like, yeah, you don't want this. It tastes bad. It's like, this is evil. You don't want this. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you're right. I don't need it. But then I try to like stick my finger in anyways, and then they look at me like, hey, and I'm looking at them like, hey. So I end up sticking my finger in, getting the taste, and I'm like, you're right, I didn't need it. But I just wanted to make sure if I was, accurate. It ain't my fault, bada bing. Bada boom. Bada bang. I'm sorry, I had to do that. Shout out to DDP. I don't do DDP yoga, but I just like Diamond Dallas Page. So, first funny story that comes to mind, right? When I was in high school, I was a cart pusher at Walmart. Boo. And I developed a friendship with, I've always had one with this one guy I knew named Chris Hodges. And it's funny how our friendship was. Like, we met based on the fact that we had a mutual guy we didn't like, and he knocked him out in class. Like, he punched him so hard, his face went numb. And afterwards, he was trying to be cool about talking about some, nah, it didn't hurt. And I remember approaching him, I was like, hey man, were you the guy? And he was like, yeah. And we looked at each other like, man, that was cool as hell. And we've always had like that tight friendship in high school. But when we were coworkers, oh my gosh, it was crazy. The things that we did was so crazy. I'll never forget it. I'm trying my best not to yawn because it's like so bad. But the people that are watching me on Facebook Live are looking at me like, are you serious, bro? And I'm like, yes, I'm serious. But I remember one time that there was an actual party. And it was like not too long after we graduated. And it was this one chick, I'll never forget her. She was like this preppy white girl. And, it's funny talking about it, I just remembered her name. And she like hosted a party in the suburbs. She had a pool and all that. She was basically trying to show off just so everyone could be like, oh man, you're so cool, you're popular, and I'm gonna bang you afterwards. Like, ugh. And I'm like, dude, she's a sophomore. We just graduated. Her mom is more attractive. I mean, the girl was cute too, but her mom, banging. But not trying to say I tried to hit on her mom, but I was just giving her a comparison. Like, it ain't all that. Like, fuck out of here. But anywho, it was so much. They had like a pool. It was like the above ground pool. I'm in there doing backflips. I'm like doing front flips. I'm doing like sky twister presses. And these people are like impressed because they see this big dude doing that. They also had like kegs everywhere. And they're like, you had to pay $5 for a red cup. And you can drink as many times as you want. Well, because we were slick and we worked at Walmart of all places, we pitched in and paid our $5, and we shared that same cup the whole night. Next thing you know, the cops showed up. And this is the part where I'm making fun of the police, not downplaying the police like everyone else is right now. But you always have that one cop who takes his job a little bit too seriously just so he can impress the other cops because he's ranked lower than them. So the guy's standing there, he's like, so you think you're smart, but you're not. And everyone's all like paranoid, like, the fuck are we going to do? There's like at least about 100 of us in that park, in that backyard, and there's probably like maybe 3 of them. Like, they all can't stop us. So there was like, just go home. Don't do anything stupid. I was like, if we were in the ghetto, there would be like the fucking riot squad coming after us. Which I didn't care, but that's just pretty much how it is. So we ended up leaving afterwards, and we're like amped up in the car because we're like, oh my gosh, dude, did you just see what happened? They're like, Mike, man, you was killing them with them flips, man. I was like, yeah, dog, it was fun as hell. And it was just so hilarious how it went down. And on top of that, it was a crazy moment. And at the same time, I ended up befriending another guy named Carlos Quarles, aka Stone Cold Steve Loafs, aka the guy who did a theme song for like 2 or 3 seasons of my podcast, aka that crazy dude. And it was me, him, Chris Hodges, and another guy. We all ended up forming this little clique called Crazy Box. And it was based off of the Toryumon Japan faction, Crazy Max. So we were copying like the mannerisms, like, the whole crazy thing, ding, 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 and then all that. Yeah, we were crazy. Like, we did not care, and we were unapologetic about it that we were crazy and we did whatever we wanted. Like, that's what made Walmart fun, because we were those guys. We were going to live our lives the way we wanted to, and like I said, we were all unapologetic about it. And if you think the stuff I said now was offensive, you should have heard some of the stuff we said back then. And I'm not going to repeat it because, like I said, we were just that wild, man. And hopefully when this pandemic is over, I want to do an episode with one of the guys, and we can just talk about those crazy moments, those good old days in the box, as we called it, the Crazy Box, because that's what we was. Like, we were the Crazy Box, and it's just one of those moments to we just acted a fool. Like, when I said we acted a damn fool, we acted a damn fool. Like, I'm doing, like I said, the crazy taunt where it's like ding, 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 and then on top of that, Carlos would do his chicken dance, as he called it. And I'm like, it's like, what is going on? And that's just how we were. When I said we were that wild, we were that wild, and we did not care. So I think once Carlos moved and I found another job, we all went our separate ways, but we still stayed in contact. But we were just, like I said, we didn't care. We were rebels, but we were like petty rebels. Like, we did a lot of crazy stuff, but we never got caught, and we made sure we never got caught because we looked out for each other's asses, just so it wouldn't go down that way. But I remember, like, I remember this one occurrence that I had during lunch at work with Chris, and we were at the Chinese restaurant. And it was one of them types where, you pick, you want 2 items, you want 3 items, or you want rice or noodle, and all that. But there was this one chicken there. She was looking good, yo. She was like looking fine, and I'm looking at Chris, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to hit on her. He's like, something ain't right about this chicken. I'm like, yeah, you don't like Asians, but. And I was just being a smart ass. He's like, whatever. I was like, I'm telling you, man, I got this. I said, as soon as I'm going to get me a refill, I'm going to get her number. So I turned around and grabbed my cup, and I was like, excuse me, ma'am. And she turned and was like, yeah. And I noticed the way she was like rushing to get to the table. I noticed something was bouncing at the bottom. And that's when I realized that ain't no fanny pack, yo. That chick had a dingling, man. I felt like Mark Henry on that segment on Raw where he was with the the cross-dressing one. I was like, sweet Jesus, you got a penis. Like, that's how I felt. And I looked at him, I was like, can I just get a refill? And I looked over at Chris. Chris is like dying laughing. He is laughing so hard at me because he's like, oh shit, you were going after a shim. You were going after a shimmy shim. Which is funny because I remember one time me and him in high school used to pick on this. It's not that we didn't pick on her. It's just that she was one of those type of chicks where, you try to be nice to someone, then they become an ass to you. So you end up throwing it back on them without saying it to them. But I remember this one chick. I kid you not. She looked just like Kenzo Suzuki when he was in the WWE. And we used to always do that as an inside joke where it'd be like, Kenzo Suzuki and all this dumb shit, like talking with a Japanese accent, and because she had like this mustache, and it was like uncontrollably noticeable. And there was one day we were talking about it in class, and another guy that was in our class like noticed it too, and he's like, "Yo, that's just not right, man. Like, how you gonna kiss a woman and then that thing just rubbing on your face, and she's just looking at you like, wing, ching, 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 ching." I'm like, damn. It was just wild, man. It was, oh man. Moments like that, I kind of miss high school, but really I don't. Because all the people that I remember from high school is only enough with one hand. So, yeah. But, yeah, that was just a wild moment with, like I said, the Crazy Box crew. And that was the thing with Carlos. Like, I remember, like, I've done so much with Carlos. Like, I've had so many firsts with that dude. Like, I remember one time I got pulled over the first week I got my license and was driving, and it was by a cop, and it was on the way going home to drop Carlos off from work. And I know this guy was profiling us. It was too obvious he was profiling. And the whole time Carlos is in like full rebellion mode. He's like, man, fuck this, man. Fuck these people. I was like, Carlos, chill, man. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, dude. He just didn't care because, now mind you, he didn't say that when the cop was there. It was like afterwards, you know. And the cop gave me the warning and all that. And it was just a funny moment because Carlos really did not care. And like I said, with all the events that's going on right now, the irony of it all. It's just the irony of it. That's why it kind of like bothers me. It bothers me for the simple fact of two things. One, there's good policemen. Like the police up here in Northern Virginia, Prince William County Police. They've always been good to me. I've never had a problem. When I lost my wallet, not even a couple hours, they called it in saying, hey, we found your wallet, blah, 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 come to the police station. You know? So that helped out a lot too. Like I said, they're good peoples. And because of that, you deal with so much good, but then you kind of overlook until it actually happens all the evil that happens. And because of that evil, it ends up giving a complex on them all. And it's crazy because I remember I used to have that when it came to just dating and women. Like, because of one bad woman, it made a complex of thinking all women are bad. And it's like, you know what? It's just not worth it. Which is pretty much why I just don't put all my marbles in one area. As a matter of fact, I don't put my marbles in at all because no one's worthy or worth it at this point. And, you know, that's not trying to sound like a downer. That's just reality. Like, to me, the biggest line of bullshit, in my opinion, is the laws of attraction. I do not believe in the laws of attraction. I used to, from listening to like the videos and the self-help. No, there is no law. I'm gonna tell you where the law of attraction of following that type of bullshit is. The law of attraction of following those type of things is that how they suckered you into you sending your money and thinking that you're gonna get a miracle. Like, I know a lot of you guys don't listen to a lot of rock and roll and heavy metal, but there's this one song by Suicidal Tendencies called Send Me Your Money. And the last verse that they said was, see, my mama didn't raise no fool because you can't put a price on a miracle. You know, and that's true. So I just don't believe in the law of attraction. I don't believe that no matter how much you work and how much you manifest to it, if it's going to happen when you do all these things. I don't see that. You can change your style, you can change your lifestyle, you can do different things for what you want. At the end of the day, 9 out of 10 times it's not going to happen, because you can put all the effort in for them to, you know, to get that attraction, but that's based on what they decide. They're the machine that decides, and that's how I look at it as. It's just a machine. So it's just one of those things where, and even I talked to a friend about it, and I told her, I said the main thing that would get on my nerves is when people would say, oh, one day the right woman's going to fall into your life and you're going to be so happy and all that, or not the down on religion, and I'm not when saying this. So for those who get offended by this next statement, it's because you have no backbone and you didn't pay attention with your ears. But when they say things like, God is going to send you the right woman who's going to love you and appreciate you and so on. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not sacrilegious. I do have my beliefs in things. I do have my belief in faith. But you cannot convince me that something like that is going to happen. Otherwise, it would have happened already. And then some people are like, well, it only happens at certain ages. Nah, I'm not buying that. I get what you're selling. I'm just not buying into it. That's why I've learned what, as they say, the nonconformist way of life. Things that were said before me aren't meant for me. And that's so true. So it's just, that's just my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of people can disagree with that. But the first thing I tell people, if you've been in my shoes, you would have gave up years ago. Ain't no point of even trying. It is what it is. But you know what? That's cool. And you learn, you live, and you move on. You redesign, you rebuild, and you reclaim. It's just that it's more of I'm manifesting in myself. That's all I'm doing. Because that's, to me, that's what matters right now. And especially in this world that we live in, I hate to say it, people will choose survival over love because people will turn their back on you in order to survive. They will stab you in the heart just to survive. They will turn on you because you can't be what they want you to be. And there's no love in that. It really isn't. And that's just how, like I said, and these are just the point of views of Mike Cook and nobody else. Like, you do your thing, I'm going to do mine. But please don't tell me how I need to do my thing. Because my thing works for me. It is what it is. But, anywho, I've been tanning really hard lately. I've been on a tanning excursion. Like, ever since I, dyed my goatee blonde the first time, I was like, oh yeah, this is something new, and I like it. And for those who are watching on Facebook Live, isn't it glorious, all this? Even though the blonde is faded out because the black grew over it. I already bought another dye kit, and round 2 will be this week. So, I just wanted to do something different. Like, I dyed my goatee blonde. I started tanning real heavy. And it's funny, some of the references I've been getting. Hulk Hogan, Superstar Billy Graham, all these guys. And I was channeling more to Hogan than Superstar Billy Graham because then I was like, okay, Billy Graham makes more sense because he's bald and Hogan's like hanging on to what mullet that he has left. So I get the difference. It's something different, but I like it. It's just me expressing who I am. Some people like it, some don't. A lot of people gave their opinions. I like the black and gray better. Well, that's good. But this is my facial hair, y'all. Like, I got it, and people love the platinum look when I did in late November, and that's cool. But this is just something completely different. But this time, with advice from a friend, I bought the kit because I'm using the kit on my face, It's a lot better. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. You can't tell me different either. And if you don't like it, you can get that camera out my face, sucker. Oh, man. I, as you people say, Mike Cook, you are a mess. But you know what? It's that sanity that I carry that has also been the greatest motivation to do better. You know, I also want to say to many of y'all, thank you for supporting the Mike World Order brand, buying the t-shirts, listening to the podcast, plugging it in, retweeting, because I also want to make a special shout out to someone as well too. So a lot of you guys that watch this podcast, that listen to it on YouTube, are most likely wrestling fans. Well, I've befriended a guy who runs a podcast called the Front Row Material Podcast with ECW legends Mikey Whipwreck and Jerry Lynn. The guy's name is Mike Freeland. Awesome dude. If you ever get a chance, listen to their show. Like the last episode, Mike Freeland went another level. Like usually he would be like this calm, cool-natured, funny guy, you know, comical. But this episode, it started out good, but then the ending, oh man, he was coming out of his shell, like man, I was like, dude, like I was dying laughing. Then when they did the shout out, because it's one of those things, they didn't have to, but they did, because, you know, one of the things that people have forgotten to do right now is support one another in their dreams. And I always tell people that if there's something you want to do, I'm not going to say it's a stupid idea. Okay? 7 years ago, people thought that me doing this podcast was a stupid idea. You know, even down to when I was a little kid and I said I wanted my own t-shirt and I want my own action figure, and you guys said that that's a dumb idea. But guess what? You fast forward to years later, I got the Mike World Order t-shirt. I got my own belt. I got my own action figure mini Big Mike. So you can't really say what's a dumb idea. That's why, you know, it sucks that people don't support one another these days in what they want to do. That's why this next season, all these musicians, artists, whatever talent you got, if you got a little small business you want to run and you're trying to better yourself, get on the podcast. You know, I also want to get one with Iron Mike on here, because the man is a salesman genius, and he can pretty much give you his strategies of how he sells, and that can help you out, how to market yourself. You know your worth. And I think people kind of don't do that, and I'm one of them. I don't know my worth in terms of the dating aspect, but I know my worth in terms of marketing my self brand and getting there. You know, it's just one of those things that you can't, where everyone kept saying 2020 is going to be their year, but because of everything that's going on, they felt like 2020 is not their year. It is only the first half of the year. The year's not over yet. We can still bounce back. We just got to be a little bit more patient, that's all. You know, it just takes a little bit more patience, a little bit more time. You know, because even I'll say it, it ain't been easy for me either. The past month and some change have been like the shits because of this quarantine and all that. Like, I know I jokingly say it because it's funny, but man, for all you single people out there along with me, we chose the wrong time to be single, man. We chose the wrong time, man. But you know what? It also gives us that time to, I guess, rebuild and, I guess you can say, self-improve. Because I've been doing like a whole lot of that recently. A lot of self-improvement, you know. But I just wanted to, you know, do this impromptu episode just to, you know, get everyone in a better mood. Like I said, of course I was going to go with a little bit with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, but only just for those few moments. But that's just me stating my opinion on things. But I also wanted to make sure that I was gonna mention some comedy and everything, and I pretty much told y'all some pretty funny, embarrassing stories of the legend that was Crazy Box, because in our own rights, that's how we felt. We felt like we were damn legends. We were crazy. And for those who, like I said, this situation we're going on, keep this in mind. Not all are bad. Just because of one bad experience, not all are bad. And even like I said, I'm also trying to learn that as well too. Like for those saying that this race is racist all the time and all that, I got a friend known since high school, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna give me shit for saying this, but our first date was at a where we ate at for dinner was at a Popeyes on MLK in Savannah, Georgia at night, and she was a Caucasian woman. Most women would have been scared to their lives for that type of thing. Not her. Didn't bother her, because she was one of those ones that didn't look at people based on color. And that I'm the same way with people too. If I'm cool with you, doesn't matter. You see all the people wearing Mike World Order t-shirts. It's people of various, supporting the podcast. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, That's why it's like we're just all one unit. Mike unit. That's why I put a lot of emphasis on the world order concept. So, but I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day just to listen. And like I said, new episode probably sometime next week. And of course, after this is done, we're going to be doing the post episode where I'll probably get one of the guys on here to get on Facebook Live and, shoot the shit about the recent episode. So, all in all, I hope everyone is safe out there. Please be careful. Stay covered. Stay sanitized. Even if you gotta wear a full bodysuit while you're getting some, do it. And don't ask no questions. This is Mike Cook signing off for the Mike Cook Guys podcast, the Quarantine Sessions. Saying as always, goodbye and good night. Bang!